by It is presented by Teresa Stevens, who is our Director of Neighborhood Development and Outreach. As you may have just heard, we are recording these workshops for viewing by those who cannot make it tonight. Or if you want to review the workshop, you'll be able to go on our YouTube, DHCD's YouTube location and view the recording. My name is Eric Lee. I'm a Neighborhood Development Officer with DHCD. We also have with us tonight Kelly Bacala and Danielle Reynolds. We're here to answer any questions that you have. The presentation is going to be about 20 to 25 minutes, and then question and answer will follow. Please type what questions you have into the chat, and we will proceed to answer the questions accordingly. Teresa enjoys the open dialogue, so at the end of her presentation, we will probably unmute everyone as long as we can operate in a decent and orderly fashion and be able to answer questions and engage in good dialogue. So with that, I want to again present Teresa Stevens, our Director of Neighborhood Development and Outreach, and she will give her presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint presentation to discuss how to purchase city-owned properties. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. Everybody good? Can see it? Okay. All right, so welcome. So I'm excited to see so many people that are interested in purchasing city-owned properties. And my name is Teresa Stevens. I am the Director of Neighborhood Development and Outreach in the Division of Development with Baltimore City's Department of Housing and Community Development. This evening, we're going to talk about how to purchase Baltimore City-owned properties. Photographs in this PowerPoint presentation are true. All of our properties, or mainly most of our properties, are in need of full gut renovation. So as you decide about purchasing a vacant in the city of Baltimore, and we'll go through this in the presentation, a very important piece is to understand the needs of the renovation and what those costs look like. And this is actually a property that we did sell. The after photo I do not have, but it is definitely much different than it looks in this photo. So one of the challenges that the city of Baltimore faced was a population decrease. And it left the city with a high number of vacant and abandoned buildings throughout many of our neighborhoods. One of the things that I like to share during this presentation is 75 to 80% of the city's vacant properties are privately owned. So what we're going to discuss today are the city-owned properties that we have and the best way to use the resources from Baltimore DHCD to purchase city-owned properties. Part of the Vacants to Value strategies include streamlining the process. Prior to Vacants to Value, it actually took a little bit of close to almost 2 years to go from the application to settlement. And since the Vacants to Value process, we have reduced the time of the application from 4 to 6 months. And I will give a little, caveat that with COVID and courts closed or on delayed schedules, we are probably hitting around 8 to 12 months at this time. Streamlining code enforcement, facilitating investment in large block cluster areas, targeted incentives that are provided to both the home buyer and in some cases the developers, supporting large scale development in distressed areas, maintaining, cleaning and holding, and the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative are all part of the strategies of the Vacants to Value program. So Vacants to Value is not specific to just the sale of city-owned property, but the support of development projects and the encouragement of home ownership through the incentives. So the development division, and I'm really excited to have Eric Lee, who is the master of the Eastern area, the Northeast area, Kelly Bacala, who is the mistress or master of the Northwest area, neighborhoods like Park Heights and Garrison, Forest Park, etc. And Danielle Reynolds with us tonight. We actually, and I call us the rose-colored glasses team, because one of the things that's necessary when you are considering purchasing these properties is to really be able to see beyond the current condition. So some of the things that we do are we participate in the community meetings, keeping them informed about city-owned properties in their area. We approve and review site inspection requests. We host workshops as we're doing tonight. And actually, this is the final workshop in a series about home ownership or about purchasing city-owned properties. And we also prepare the inventory that you'll learn about today in this presentation. The development division is broken into 5 different districts. So we have a Northwest area, Northeast area, Western area, East area, and Southwest area. And the best way to work with us is to work with the different neighborhood development officers. These talented team members are aware of where the development is happening in those communities, where there's a need, and can help you identify different parcels and areas based on your needs and your budget for your project. Benefits of purchasing. And this is, something that we probably could add more of the bullets that are here. But definitely it's an opportunity to create a design or a home that you've always wanted to have. You can also apply and receive tax incentives. It helps to stabilize a neighborhood. And I think the most popular reason is that it is a bargain. But one of the things I will continue to say through this presentation this evening is please do not focus on the price of the property. Please understand that this is a project that needs to have a full plan and project and budget in order to make this property become more productive and useful in the community. So as you decide to purchase, these are the things that we would like you to consider having through the process. Vision, expert assistance, and resources. With the vision, identifying the characteristics, where do you want to be? And for those that are on the call that are realtors or have been in the real estate investment world for a good while, understand that location is everything. And with the city-owned properties that we currently have, most of our inventory is in areas that don't have strong home ownership or are looking for full block outcome to help stabilize the block. So location is key. Size and zoning are also extremely important pieces as you put together your vision for the project. Are you looking to do multifamily? Is this a single family home that you plan to do for resale or for rental? And does the current zoning on the property allow you to be able to do that? Expert assistance. This is key, and believe it or not, is one of the pieces that we don't hear a lot about through the process or the project. Understanding that the renovation of some of the city's properties is specific. Baltimore City has a lot of historic homes, lath and plaster, oil heat, radiator heat, things that are, if you're planning to keep that in your home, would require a specialist or someone that can explain to you how to take those things out of the home to replace them with new and upgraded materials. It's very important to have a licensed contractor as a part of your team and participate in the site inspection so that you clearly understand what your budget is going to look like and what needs the property is going to have as you go through the renovation process. And finally, resources. Understanding what the property needs, working with our Baltimore City Planning Department, and there was a very good workshop pre-development by Eric Tiso, which is included on our YouTube channel we did last week, where you can actually sit with the planner, meet with them, talk to them about your project, understand zoning before you actually begin to spend money and put your project together, and knowing your community. Very, very key piece. Communities are much different today, and they want to know who's coming into the community, what type of use you have planned, and they'd like to become or have a relationship with the developers that are coming into the communities. Finally, and most important, is understanding your budget and making certain that the property that you are planning to purchase fits the budget that you have available for the project. So our website is a great place to learn a lot of information about housing and the different aspects of our agency, from our code enforcement activity to tracking properties that have been sold through Vacants to Value. It's also a great place to understand our different home ownership incentives and learn about upcoming events. So I'm hopeful that you guys were able to visit this website to register for this evening's event. And we'll continue to visit our website for updates on transactions and activities happening in the development division. How you find our properties. The best way to search for city-owned properties is to use the Baltimore City Code Map. And there's actually a tutorial on our website to teach you how to look for properties using Code Map. Additionally, we do send out email announcements, so I would encourage you, if you have not subscribed to Baltimore Housing's email newsletter list, that you do that this evening or sometime this week. And additionally, you can also look at the development map that is available on the site. In addition to sales of city-owned properties, both vacant land and vacant buildings, our department manages the Adopt a Lot program, which is a very popular program that allows persons to steward city-owned land for community green space, gardens, and pocket parks. One thing that I do want to make certain that I highlight on this page is when you see a property that is not city-owned and you'd like to know information, ownership, property history, the Maryland Real Estate Database, the Maryland Department of Assessment and Taxation, has a really good database that will allow you to search by address to identify who the owners of those properties are and reach out to those folks. So we are a marketing department / sales and neighborhood development, and we use social media as an opportunity to promote activities, upcoming events, and details that are happening in the Department of Housing and Community Development. So please find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel is very good to get workshops that we've covered in the past and things that are happening in the real estate market in Baltimore City. So the meat for today's presentation there are currently 5 ways to purchase city-owned properties from the city of Baltimore: the open bid process, the bundle purchase opportunity, side yard program, expression of interest, and request for proposal. And as you can see by the median sales price, this information was provided by the multiple list system. Baltimore City is still the most affordable in the region. So it's still a great place to consider putting your development project or becoming a homeowner in the city of Baltimore. So the open bid process is our most popular. Properties are listed for sale. We encourage the interested buyer to perform an inspection right of entry of those properties to get an estimate of what the budget is going to require to renovate and get this property into productive use. Once we receive the application, we send a public announcement out indicating that we've received an application for the property. We do not share who the applicant is or what their offer price is, but this is an opportunity for anyone that is interested in competing in the bid to submit an application within that 2-week window. In the application, details listed here are information that is critical that we have included in your application. Who's purchasing? And I know this sounds really simple, But one of the things that's really important in the beginning is understanding that when we transfer the property from mayor and city council to the new owner, if you are becoming an LLC, if you are not sure if the partnership is going to create an entity, that information is important for us to know in the beginning portion of the application process. Do you own any other homes? Are those homes in good standing, meaning they don't have any outstanding liens or debt on the property? They don't have a vacant building notice? How you plan to rehab this property? Where are your funds? And what is your proposed use? What's the plan? Those are things that we definitely would like to have included in your application. Here's a quick view, and this actually is included on our website, of the process. The city ensures that the property is ready for sale. When we sell the property to a new owner, that property is transferred without any debt or any outstanding liens. It is definitely a clear title with authority for the city to sell. We encourage the applicant to go in with their contractor, architect, engineer, team, and get an idea of what needs to be done in this property before submitting an application, so that when you submit your application, you have a clear understanding of what the price for this project is going to cost. Once we receive the application, which COVID has been a positive in this way, there is not a $100 application fee. So you can apply online now for free. That application is then forwarded to the neighborhood development officer, who will contact you, ask for any detail, try to get some clarity about the application, and prepare it to be transferred to our real estate transactions team. Once the application has been confirmed that it is complete, there is a public announcement that goes out. It's also posted on our website, applications that we've received with the bidding deadline. The bidding deadline, I do want to say, is not similar to eBay or who's got the highest bid. It really is that the city is looking for a good package. Is this an experienced developer? Do they know what they'd like to do with the property? And are there resources available to get this property into productive use are key. The application is then forwarded to our real estate transactions team. You will be assigned a real estate officer who will then become your new friend. They investigate the entity that you are applying in. They make certain that there are no outstanding debt or liens on any of the properties that are in your name or your individual or your company's name or affiliated with your company. And then they render a preliminary application decision, which in this case, we are really going to hope is an award. At that point, you are going to be asked to provide a 10% deposit of the offer price that you've made to the city. So if you've offered us $10,000 for the property, 10% of that will be asked of you before we begin to put together the contract, which is called the land disposition agreement. At that point, it moves to a review committee. And I actually call this group, I got to come up with a better name. I don't like devil's advocate, but they actually really scrub the application. They want to know, is the community in support? Does this help the community grow in a positive way? Is this developer experienced? Do they have an experienced team? Is the resource available to make this thing happen? It's the final scrub before we actually start to move to settlement. And at that time, the applicant should be prepared with a title company and estimated settlement fees so that we can transfer the property from mayor and city council to the new owner. At that point, we're still involved in the sale, so to speak. We want to make certain that you are pulling permits and that the promise that the city of Baltimore has made to the neighborhoods and the stakeholders in the community that we've identified a qualified developer are actually happening. So you've purchased the property, you've shown us your resources, we're ready to see you start to pull permits and get some activity happening on the property. These are just an overview after the award. You'll have to have your title company review and sign the contract, the 10% deposit. Once it's yours, the city is giving 12 months to complete the job. So from the date of settlement, that's when the clock begins to count to hope that in 12 months, this property now has a use and occupancy and is either being occupied by a new owner, a commercial, homeowner, or rental, but it is no longer a blight to the area where it was once housed. And you actually become the manager of the property. So registering your property with the permits office and keeping in touch with us in case we can help through the process is what we'd like to do at that point. Bundle purchase is pretty much bundle purchase. In the photograph that you see, you'll see a grouping of houses. Below are a grouping of lots. It is our intention to create a full block outcome. So we would not sell one property in the middle of that block of vacant properties. We would be looking for a developer that has the capacity to purchase all of the city-owned vacant properties in the bundle. Benefits of this opportunity give you negotiating privilege. So that 12 months to get the property into a use and occupancy state, you could possibly negotiate with the city on changing that timeline or creating some type of a deal with the pricing for the properties because you're now purchasing a full bundle of properties. The side yard program is another way to purchase city-owned properties. If your property is adjacent to a city-owned vacant lot, if that lot is 1,500 square feet or less, the homeowner that's adjacent is eligible to buy that lot for $500. Yes, people, I said $500. It's one of the best deals that they have in the city. The fine print on this $500 is that you are not allowed to, there's a restriction written where you are not allowed to build a building, a livable space on that lot for 10 years. But it does allow the adjacent homeowner or non-owner occupant or commercial owner to be able to create some additional green space, possibly a parking pad, and be able to use that space in a productive way. For persons that are not homeowners that are living next to, or if there's a landlord that has a vacant lot next to them, that lot would sell for $1,000 if it was 1,500 square feet or less. Anything above 1,500 square feet or less is 33 cents per square foot for homeowners and 66 cents per square foot for non-owner occupants. And I believe that the capacity on the side yard goes up to 3,000 square feet. So in the early portion of the presentation, I talked about the fact that the city of Baltimore is not the owner of all of the vacant properties. We deal with the fact that there are a high number of privately owned and abandoned vacants. We work with our Baltimore City Department of Code Enforcement to encourage these vacant property owners to do something with their property. Initially, it's a letter, it's a call, it's possibly an email in this virtual world that says, hey, we really want to solidify this community. This property has been vacant for a long period of time and it's becoming a nuisance. Following that letter, there's a $900 citation that goes to the property owner. Hopefully that will get their attention and they will decide, hey, I need to do something with this property. It is vacant, it's possibly causing damage to an adjacent owner, and I really need to either sell it, renovate it, or do something with the property because it is a blight. That first $900 citation is then followed over probably a 10 to 12 month period by 2 additional $900 citations. It's not the intention of the city to have anyone lose their investment, but it is the intention of the city to reduce the amount of blight that we have in some of our blocks. So once those properties have gone through that process and there has been no attention put on what happens to this vacant property, it goes into receivership. And the city petition has appointed a third party, which is One House at a Time. OneHouseBaltimore.org is their website, as the receiver for the city of Baltimore for only vacant buildings. So if you are looking for possibly to purchase properties through that aren't on our list that are privately owned, I would encourage you to check out OneHouseBaltimore.org to see what type of properties they have currently listed. The next auction is scheduled for Tuesday, August the 10th, and the bidding deadline or the opportunity to participate in the auction closes on Tuesday, August the 3rd. OHAT applications require financial ability, business experience, and good standing as a property owner in Baltimore City. So they too are trying to make certain that the properties are getting into an experienced hand or developer that has experience with the city of Baltimore, with renovating properties in the city. Coupled with in Vacants to Value are incentive programs. So Vacants to Value Booster Grant is one of our popular grants. This is actually a soft second mortgage that goes with the FHA loan for the home buyer, and it is reduced 20% over a 5-year period. So if the homeowner remains in the house for 5 years, they do not have to pay that $10,000 back. For investors that are on this call, this is a great way to market your property. It has an incentive. $10,000 off of your sales price is a really nice plug to be able to market to new home buyers that are coming into Baltimore City. Additionally, Baltimore City's, the Live Baltimore organization offers the Buying into Baltimore grant, which is $5,000. And those activities happen in May, and I think there's one coming up in September. And then there's the Baltimore City Home Ownership Program for city employees. Live Near Your Work is a really popular program as well. Johns Hopkins, some of our biggest stakeholders, University of Maryland, Grace Hospital in the Poppleton area, are all participants in the Live Near Your Work program. And you can visit our website to see the list of Live Near Your Work and participants. For home buyers that are on the call, participating in tonight's workshop, I would strongly ask you to consider using HUD's 203K program. This program allows you to purchase and fix the property all in one loan. There are also mechanisms in this program that will protect you from a contractor that may not be as knowledgeable about the right way to do things. So before those contractors are paid, there are inspections where they come out, make certain that the windows have been put in correctly, the doors, the floors, the roof, et cetera, and they help to manage the development project for the home buyer. I try to talk most folks out of purchasing city-owned properties because it looks easy on TV. A lot of the DIY shows have made renovation look like it's, just like that, I can do this property. But this 203K program is a program that I would strongly encourage folks that are purchasing for their own homes, primary residence, to consider doing if they're planning to purchase a vacant property in Baltimore City. Another way to purchase through the city, and this actually is currently active right now, is our expression of interest. And the DHCD uses this expression of interest to gauge interest in some of our larger properties. Currently, we have 13 sites, 7 of which are former school sites. Lockerman Bundy is actually coming up tomorrow as a site inspection. But the expression of interest is a way for entities or individuals to express to the city that they have an interest and experience, and they're ready to take on something that's a little bit larger than our individual row home. I wanted to give some inclusion because we do have site inspections scheduled for tomorrow, 1101 Winston, where you can actually meet Eric Lee. He'll be there tomorrow at 2 p.m. And 301 North Pulaski, you can meet Robin Ayeli. And my Zoom is covering that time from 11 to 2. So I'm sorry, it's not from 11. It is from 11 to 2. So if you are interested in either or any of these properties, or would like to talk a little bit more about how you could apply for some of these larger properties, please reach out to us at dhcd.eoi@baltimorecity.gov. Once we receive the responses from our expression of interest, it helps us to create a formal request for proposal where we are actually looking for development teams and financial resources with a proven track record to purchase some of our larger properties. The photographs that are listed in this were properties included in our fall 2020 RFP. We have made a number of awards with these properties, and some are still in discussion, but we were really excited to get some strong interest in the properties that you see listed here. I wanted to put a couple extra properties in here so I could give a shout out to Robin Ayeli, 306 North Fulton in the Franklin Square neighborhood, 2125. I can't see this site. Let me see if I can move this. I cannot. 2145 Division, 3313 Garrison. Kelly Bacala is on the call tonight. Typically, if we were in a room, I would give all of you guys rose-colored glasses so you guys could join the team and be able to see the potential of some of these great properties. But we are really looking forward to working with you and appreciate your participation in tonight's call. Our office is located at 417 East Fayette Street. We are open from 8:30 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. Unfortunately, because of COVID, our offices are still closed, but we are still working 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And you can reach us either via the website, contact the neighborhood development officer and just identify the neighborhood that you're looking at, or you can reach out to us at v2vinfo@baltimorecity.gov. So really appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to any questions or comments that you may have.
Thank you, Teresa. And again, thank you everyone for participating in this workshop. Kelly was answering most of the questions as they were coming through in the chat.
Great.
Yeah. Let me unmute Kelly just 1 minute.
Hi, okay, so I have a list of all the questions, Teresa, if you want to just go over them. I did answer some of them, but I think you can probably add insight to most
If you want, we can address the ones, if you know, any that you think we might need to touch base on, but we don't have to go through all of them if you've been able to answer those.
Sure, not a problem. Okay, so just some questions that I think would be good for you to mention. The first two questions we got were about how we decide which neighborhoods of the city will be vacants to value, and can neighborhoods submit blocks to be considered for vacants to value. So I thought you might want to explain the difference a little bit.
I think that I'm hearing that we don't select a particular vacants to value neighborhood. The City of Baltimore's Vacants to Value program is geared toward any city-owned property available for sale throughout all of the 280 plus neighborhoods in Baltimore. I think that that may have addressed the question. I'm not sure. I wish I could see it on in writing, or someone could ask it.
No, I think you're good. There were also a few questions about the submission of the application. So I'll just read them real quick. It's 2 or 3, and I think you can answer within one question. But are architectural drawings required when you submit an application, and how what level of financial commitment needs to be submitted for the application?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, will you assist developers with finding available funding for a project?
So with the architectural drawings, it is not our recommendation that you, unless it's a request for proposal. Let me put that as a come back to point. But for the architectural drawings, we do not require that they come in with the application. But it is important that your estimate and your inspection of the property include real numbers, so that you, as well as the city, understand that this renovation project is going to take us $100,000 to do. So the level of financial commitment that would need to be seen at that time would be $100,000, possibly I would say 120, just as a having a contingency in case of things that you didn't know about the property.
And then the only other thing, we had a few questions about the difference between receivership and our program. And one of the questions was, does the $900 citation process occur on every private vacant or those only in particular areas? And then how does the property get targeted for receivership?
That's a great question. And before I go, just making a note for that. What I do want to talk about before I move to this question, I should have added here is the city of Baltimore does work closely with Baltimore Community Lending. They actually are scheduled to do a workshop next month with us online through our Baltimore Builds workshop. And they work with developers in areas where it may be difficult to get an appraisal. And they understand working in neighborhoods where there's high number of vacant properties. So I did want to add that. In reference to the $900 citation, typically that is something that the neighborhood development officer, the neighborhood planner, and the code enforcement officer work together to identify. So if there's a block where there's activity, permits are being pulled, and there's 6 vacant properties on that block that are privately owned, that block becomes a block that's targeted for code enforcement assistance and to try to get a full block development project.
And then were you just giving information about the Baltimore Community Lending Workshop? Is that what you just answered?
I did, yes.
Okay, cool.
And Eric may have that date.
We also just finally, people are asking about a possibility of purchasing a bundle of properties. Is there a way to identify bundles of properties that we have for sale, for example, a whole block or something like that?
Most of the bundles that we have identified currently there are 2 vacant lot bundles that are included in the expression of interest, the 500 block of North Mount Street in Harlem Park and the 2100 block of Chester and Castle in the Clifton Park area. Working with the neighborhood development officer is the best way to identify sites where there is possible bundle purchase, but also understanding that that bundle purchase has to have a plan for the development of those vacant buildings or vacant lots. But in most cases, if it's larger than 3, I would say 3 or more, it would probably be something that would fit our expression of interest or request for proposals.
And those are basically the gist of the questions. We did just get one more question about walking through our interactive V2V map. And I'll just mention that we do have on our YouTube page a couple of tutorials about how to use that map. As well as when you go to the map, a prompt pops up immediately that helps you to guide you through the map as well.
I do see something, any suggestions if you've reached out to a private owner and have not received a response?
Sorry, I was just going to read you that one.
This would definitely be a question for one of our code enforcement attorneys to possibly give you some help, but this is also where the neighborhood development officer can be of assistance in that case as well. Can you repeat the Harlem Park bundle? So the Harlem Park bundle is the 500 block of North Mount Street. If you go to our expression of interest site, let's see if we have it here. Yeah. It's currently on the screen. It is not, because it is not a site inspection. It is a vacant building. I mean, a vacant lot, sorry. So it's not actually a need for a site inspection. But the 500 block of North Mount Street includes, I think, 10 vacant lots. And it's located in the neighborhood of Harlem Park. Howard Tutman is the point of contact for the Harlem Park neighborhood and would be a really good resource to help you navigate that area and availability. Thank you, Kelly. So that, and the link is now in the chat.
Janet asks, what is a community development zone? I'm not sure what she means by community development zone.
Maybe the cluster community develop, we did reference the community development cluster.
Possibly.
So the goal is to try to stabilize blocks, and in some cases, creating a development site or a cluster of area for a developer that has that capacity is what we would like to do, to try to get a full block outcome, or even help to support those smaller blocks that have one or two properties that are vacant, but there's a developer that's qualified to do all of those city-owned lots. I hope that that helps.
I think so. Yeah, she did say the areas outlined in blue on code map, which are the community development clusters. So yes, that is I think a good answer. And then Jermaine asked, if I plan to purchase a property with cash and then use a construction loan for the construction, would I just need the pre-approval for the construction loan for the application?
Yes. I'm also having trouble connecting with community association leaders. Is there an agency, or the planners are absolutely a really good resource. There is the mayor's office of neighborhoods that should be able to provide you with a contact. Additionally, I would suggest that you reach out to the city council representative or the delegate for that district, as they may be able to help you with an introduction to community association leaders. All right. So this was great. I hope everyone has been able to get some of their questions addressed. I really look forward to talking with you guys if you're looking to purchase city-owned properties, and we welcome you. We've been doing this. We're entering into year number 14, I believe, 13. And it's really exciting to see some of the neighborhoods where we started no longer have city-owned vacants. And one of the issues that we need to focus on now is how we address or deal with those privately owned vacants that have been an issue or causing blight in communities. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Eric. Thank you all so much.
Again, we want to thank you for participating. I did put in the chat that we're having a workshop with the Baltimore Community Lending. It's tentatively scheduled for July 28th. It would be, if you go to our DHCD website and look at events, that's where you would register for the workshops. But again, it's tentative. We are confirming that this week. We want to thank, obviously, our staff, everyone who was from DHCD that was on this call tonight, and of course you, all the participants who are committed to improving the quality of life in Baltimore. If you have any questions whatsoever, please reach out to any one of the neighborhood development offices, and we'd be happy to help you, particularly those who need some help with code map. We can help you with understanding the legends. Peter did say earlier, Peter Sabanos did ask if we can clarify between properties that are city-owned by DHCD and those that are owned by HABC, which are Housing Authority of Baltimore City. On the code map, houses that are owned by, or properties owned by HABC are shaded brown, and the properties owned by the city are shaded green. So if you need some help with understanding how to use the code map, please reach out to us. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great evening.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. This was awesome.
I'm also putting a link in the chat to the planners, so you can click on that and get information for what planner is in the area that you're interested in. And also, just real quick, we do have people who speak Spanish in the office. So if you are a Spanish speaker or feel more comfortable speaking Spanish, we do have Spanish speakers in the office, and the city also has a service to help communicate with any language. So if you are interested in contacting us, please let us know and we'll set that up so that we can speak to you in hopefully any language necessary. We'll definitely work our best to do that.
Awesome.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Great job, Eric and Teresa.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try to copy the chat because I don't think we will keep it if we close this out.
I think I put all the questions in my email, but as we started asking the questions, I stopped. So about half of them probably aren't in my email.
Wow, you've been busy. There were some really good questions. That's great.
There were, yeah. Oh, let me put the YouTube link in the chat too, real quick.
Teresa, we had 70 participants at our highest.
Oh, great.
How can I look at the video on YouTube?
I'm sending the YouTube link to our DHCD. When do they usually get posted to YouTube? The next day or?
I would comfortably say probably Friday, by Friday.
Okay, well, the link is going in the chat now. This is
It's a good workshop, Teresa.
Great. Thank you.
all right, well, I'll see all you fine folks tomorrow.
Adios.
Take
All
care.
right. Take care, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.